Welcome to another edition of Keeping It 84. This is Paul Penniman, an old white man, sitting here with
$20.
a young African-American gentleman. And we're here to talk about cultural differences, racial differences across that divide known as the Anacostia River. And we call it Keeping It 84 because we can't really be totally honest, can we?
No.
Mr. Dollars. For instance, what is it about your hair? It takes me 15, 20 seconds to get my hair ready in the morning. And how much time did you spend at the barbershop this week? A couple hours?
For a shape up, about 20 minutes. But for my locks, I had to go to what is it called? The beauty salon. And that's about 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot. I can't imagine that. Did you have a magazine or something? Do they have magazines anymore?
They may have magazines, but I don't think it's the one you read.
Were you just looking at your phone or looking at the women, or what was that like?
I think I was looking at some of the women, and then they turned on Netflix, and I was looking at some more women.
And they're speaking English, right? They're not talking Spanish about you behind their back or anything like that?
No, this was a black salon.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's good.
I think you mixing that up with when the women go get their nails did.
That's true. The nail salon for women, that can be pretty rough on the women. So, but we should be honest about black shaving versus white shaving. It's a lot easier for us Norwegian folks to shave our faces, right? So there's something about your hair, the way it comes out of your face. It doesn't come out very...
It's coarse.
Yeah, it's hard to shave.
When I don't shave and my hair ain't did, I look like the Predator. So I try to look, and that's not good if you're coming across a cop.
So Mr. Dollars here has transformed himself from a scary-looking African-American man, just kidding about that, so now he kind of looks like a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, depending on what you think of his hair. But we're going to do a photo shoot later today for our podcast, and I don't even know if podcast is the right term for it. It's going to be somewhat visual. And in a few weeks, we haven't talked about this a lot, but I'm going to be in Ohio campaigning for the Democrats. But we're going to keep up our podcast every week from a remote location.
Okay, cool.
And maybe we'll do a live session or two so people can see us live. That'll be exciting. I was told that people actually like to watch Zoom calls for an audio podcast, but that's okay if that's the way it should be done.
We just go with the flow and see. Boy, you made me talking about Boy Scouts. You just made me feel weird. I hope I don't look too moist.
You don't feel like a Boy Scout. Now, do Boy Scouts admit girls now? Is that what they're doing?
I don't know. I've never been in there.
Yeah, they had a problem with Scoutmasters who had ulterior motives with the boys. So I think
that's a shame.
So it's kind of ironic that they would admit girls to make the boys safer. But we'll see how that goes.
But you know what I noticed? You was talking about our hair and all that kind of stuff. Mr. Penniman, I don't know how true this is, but when you go to certain hotels, like upscale hotels, like if I go to one, which is very rare because I don't got the money, you go in the bathroom, and I noticed they don't really have anywhere where you put your washcloths.
That's true. That's true. What are you supposed to do with the washcloths?
See, that's what I'm saying. Black people use washcloths. Well, we call them rags sometimes, but they washcloths for our skin. But y'all don't use that, do you? How do you take a shower? Do you use your hands?
Well, no, we use a washcloth, and I think we're the same in the sense we always want more washcloths. Like if we're going to be there for more than a day, we're not comfortable using the same washcloth all the time. Like the next day.
I don't know how people do that.
I remember when I did one of my college trips with kids, they were asking me if I had any extra washcloths because I had my own room and they had their room. I said, no, sorry about that. I've used them all up. But are you neat and clean when you stay in a hotel? How many hotels have you stayed in? Can't be too many.
Not too many.
Because you were commenting.
Plenty of motels.
One of the things we were going to talk about today is how familiar turf is for some of the African-American people that we know in Southeast. Mm-hmm. They feel comfortable in Southeast. They don't really want to leave Southeast, even though they know kind of conceptually that it's better on the other side of the river.
Right.
And barbershops is actually kind of part of that. It's a really familiar place.
Yes.
It's comfortable. White people just want to get out of there as soon as possible. We don't want to talk to anybody. The old joke is, how do you want your hair cut, Mr. Penniman? The answer is silently. There's no socialization.
So while we're trying to, we stay in there having a good time, having conversations, laughing, and all that stuff in the barbershop, y'all trying to get in and out. But it's amazing to me that y'all love to stay in the bank longer. Now, when it comes to black people, we trying to get in and out of the bank as fast as we can.
Now, do you think they're going to try to catch you for something in the bank?
Not really. It's like we don't want to come in and try to rob the place. We want to be out of there. And then we ain't got that much money to go that far anyway to be that, be long there.
I'm not sure what it is about carrying cash. My brother likes to carry a lot of cash. Maybe he's an exception. And these days, I don't like to carry any. Do you think black people like to carry a lot of cash? Why do they go into the bank for the first time to cash why are they there in the first place to cash a check? Is that why they're there?
Probably cash a check and they just want the money. I don't think we fool with checks and credit cards too much, but they making it where we have to have it. And of course, we love Chuck Brown.
Good hope.
And he said cash is the best, and we live off of that.
When I first started doing summer programs, I gave all the kids checks, and they kind of stared at them, and they stared at me. What do I do with this? And I thought, they could just, if they don't have an account, they could just use their parents' checking accounts. They could just go to the PNC Bank and just cash their checks. And no, none of them could do that.
What do you think is the whitest bank?
The whitest bank? Well, it used to be the Riggs Bank, maybe. And what does that become? PNC? I don't know.
Yep, PNC. What about Chase Bank? When I go in Chase Bank, they look at me funny, like, "Are you lost?"
You're in the wrong place.
Yeah, but I got an account there, and all these white people coming in.
How come all these check cashing places have gone out of business? Is it because we're all electronic now? Nobody does
I think
checks
that's
anymore.
Probably what it is.
Yeah,
they can't do too much because some of us still need the check cash in place.
Yeah, so that was kind of a disaster. So then I had to go to straight cash. So then every Thursday I have to go to the bank and get like $500 or $1,000, and then just go. I guess it was like the dealer going around to his men. Here's your cut for this week, going to every corner. And one of our kids actually got jumped, and I think it was a setup by one of the other classmates at Anacostia High School.
Typical.
So cash is not totally safe. I understand that. We were supplementing the money for the summer youth employment program. You don't still have that SYEP job, do you?
No.
You've aged out of that.
Yeah, I've aged out.
How many years did you do that?
I know I did it in 2014, and then I did it again in 2016.
Yeah, that was a great program, and people used to tell me, "Hey, Marion Barry gave me my first job. That was the summer job,"
Yep.
and that's why he was one of the reasons why he was such a popular.
Why do you
mayor.
think people call the hood the projects?
I think
You've heard that, haven't you?
I think white people.
Like, I'm from the projects. Don't mess with me. I'm from the projects. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I mean, white people created the projects.
Of course y'all did.
And I don't know if the word was official in the term, but I know at the first press conference saying what a beautiful development this is. They might have used the word development. They might have used the word project. And of course, it was all for low-income people, which isn't always a great idea, because whenever you have a neighborhood which is just low-income people, there's going to be a certain percentage that will be a little bit more.
Yeah, because I thought the way they said it, the projects is just another, it's synonymous with the hood. It's just another name for the hood. But I think every neighborhood is a project. I just think it is judged on how successful it is and how it thrives based upon how many black people are there. If it's less black people there, then it's a neighborhood. If it's more black people there, then they just take the neighbor off and just call it the hood. So I think that's how it goes. Like when the teacher gives you a project, and depending on how good it is, you get an A, B, C, or D. So they judge the project, which is the neighborhood. I hate to say it, but how many, we can say ghetto people, but in terms, black people. And depending on what's going on in the neighborhood, who's there, black people, they grade it. Is this an A plus? Is this a B plus? We got a few blacks, B plus. Okay, we got more coming in and crime is going, okay, C plus, and then it goes all the way up to an F.
I'm still beefing with Berry Farms.
It don't exist much anymore. What would you give this area?
in terms of
D
a grade?
plus
Well,
or a C. You can't go no. It ain't going any higher than that.
my
C
house,
plus.
my house, they graded a C in terms of its upkeep and how it looked, but they actually built some nice houses next door. Yeah, so C plus is just about right.
Yeah.
We just have too much trash on the ground. If there was less trash on the ground, we'd go up to a solid B, I think. So,
Maybe you got to try to clean up.
but it's amazing. Despite where people live in Southeast, they're comfortable, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they have to move over to Northeast near Fort Lincoln, where a lot of people have been moving over to.
Is Fort Lincoln nice?
It's supposed to be very nice. New townhomes.
I think I went over there, but I didn't know what I was looking at.
It's near Costco, and there's a Starbucks.
Yeah, it's nice.
And you were commenting about at the top of, Good Hope Road. Excuse me.
Yes.
I have to fix my voice. They've developed so many nice stores and restaurants up there.
Yeah, it scared me.
So do you think we're kicking out the white people are going to kick out the black people?
Yes. See, the thing is, when I went up there, I was running some errands for my grandmother. I had to go to the bank, and I always go downtown to go to the bank, like you was talking about the white bank, PNC, because that's what the bank she banks with. And I was at the bus stop. It's the Skyland neighborhood, but borderline between Ward 7 and Ward 8. And I was waiting for the bus to go downtown to go to PNC. But then I had, a couple of crackheads behind me talking, and they were saying, yeah, the bank right over there. And I said, what bank y'all talking about? And they was like, yeah, the PNC bank over there. So I said, I thought they were lying, but I went over there, and it was a PNC. But I seen that development back there, but I thought it was just like some buildings. But when I went around, it's a whole like mall back there. They have what's it called, that place? Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's.
And
yeah.
they had Starbucks. They had Chase Bank. And they had PNC Bank. And there was some more stuff back there. Oh, they had an And Pizza. So I was excited because I never saw this, but I was also afraid because I said, this is a sign that those crackheads that told me about this a few moments ago, I said, they're going to sweep them out soon. They've been planning this for years. It's just, we're just now seeing it.
Yeah, that Starbucks is big.
You people been planning it for years.
It's going to take 100 years for us to kick you all out, I think. But where are you going to go? Is everyone going to go to PG County?
Probably so, Maryland.
Now, that neighborhood is called the Top of the Hill.
What, Skyland?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call it, top of the hill.
I remember a kid at Anacostia was saying, hey, Mr. Penniman, can you give me a ride to the top of the hill?
Yes.
And I'm thinking, well, I live on the top of the hill. So we started driving towards my house. I go, where are you going? And I said, do you want the top of the, well, no, the top of the, what do you mean?
Top of the hill.
The top of the hill. It's, and he had trouble describing where it was. You know where the Safeway is. And
yeah, you got to say, because see, we know what top of the hill means, but
in those days, it was the Safeway, the Discount Mart, which
yes,
was
the Discount Mart.
Everyone's favorite place to shop for.
And then they just got rid of all of that.
But there's, what's that barbershop up there? Like that? Isn't there that up there?
It's something like that. I never went to it.
What's your barbershop? You can do a little.
I go to different
free
ones.
plug. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It depends on, when I walk in, the environment. If I don't feel safe, I'm gone.
Is it possible for gentrification to be black? In other words, can middle class blacks kind of kick out lower income blacks?
I don't know. It seemed like it's because I wonder, is gentrification dealing with race or is it dealing with income?
I think the definition of it is income, but the way it usually looks is.
I call it gendrification. The gingers are coming back.
It
you
is.
know something ain't right. We had a Popeyes up there on top of the hill. You knocked down a Popeyes just to put a Starbucks across the street.
That's
you know
right.
Something. We know that we're not going to be there too long. Yeah, it may take us 100 years to be moved out, but we ain't going to really have because the stuff, we're going to probably move ourselves out because we won't be able to afford what they're building up around us.
Yeah, but neighborhood names are funny. Realtors are not going to say, oh, there's a lovely 3-bedroom condo at the top of the hill. They're going to call it Skyland.
Skyland, yeah.
And this neighborhood where we are is Hillsdale.
Oh, Lord.
And historical Anacostia has a couple of different names.
You when you say like Hillcrest or
this is Hillsdale.
This is Hillsdale.
And Hillcrest is over where Vince Gray lives.
Okay.
Over in the nice part where Branch Avenue is.
Right.
Yeah. But the Anacostia neighborhood, some people call it Cruddy. Oh yeah, I live around Cruddy. Or I had to go through Cruddy.
Yeah.
Or even after the snowfalls, even Cruddy looks good. And it's also called Choppa City or Chop.
Yeah,
You
all
wanna
of that.
explain to everybody what a choppa is?
I don't. The chopper I know is the one in the sky looking for the black guy.
Come on, you're telling me I know what a choppa is and you don't?
That's why I said, Mr. Penniman, you're more urban than I am. Oh, God.
Yeah, I just made the rifle
The
movement
rifle.
towards.
So it's a gun, yeah. But see, I mean, I'm thinking chopper like the helicopter in the sky.
If you
Looking
got,
for the guy with the chopper.
if you all out there want to laugh, you should look up a video from about 10 years ago when Donald Trump first became famous. There was a video by some kids in Baltimore. I think they were all in high school. And the song was called "We Got a Choppa in Our Trunk" for Donald Trump. And it was very threatening, but of course these are high school kids.
Right.
Just, but it was a funny song. So if you want a good laugh.
So that was
times,
that was when the first term when he was coming in?
Yeah, when he was first running for election and talking about how, all the stupid stuff.
Right, right. But that's why I said, Mr. Penniman, this is weird because you know more about D.C. and even black culture more than I do. I'm just basic. I'm just trying to stay out of the way.
Well, you've got certain small holes in your knowledge, but you're definitely more.
Oh no, I got small holes, but that's just so I can be able to survive. That's it. Just so I can get from one bus stop to the next bus stop and go to work. That's it.
But I never watch BET. Do you watch BET?
Sometimes, yeah, when the gospel part come on.
Yeah. So, and I don't really listen to hip hop music
I
unless.
think BET stands for Booty Entertainment.
Do you know the joke? I went from EBT to BET. EBT, for those of you who don't know, I don't even know what EBT stands for, but it basically is like assistance, public assistance.
What, eat better today?
Eat better today. That's right.
But even if you go from EBT to BET, it ain't that far-fetched.
I'm becoming less of a hip hop fan, although I can explain Kendrick Lamar to my white friends. But I listen to it less and less because I don't have students with me anymore who are saying, "Oh, you got to listen to this latest Fetty Wap."
Yeah, is it because everybody getting older or younger? What is it?
Well, I'm getting older. They're getting older. I'm not driving around high school kids anymore. So.
Yeah, because we are getting older.
You know that line? Maybe you don't know. You're not a Fetty Wap fan. So
I don't know his music,
some people out there.
I just know he have one eye.
Some people out there might know the line. I got a Glock in my Rari.
See what I'm saying?
And I used to say, I got a Glock in my Honda.
See?
Just to make the kids
now,
laugh.
Now, I know what a Glock is. Someone told me that's a gun, right?
Right, and a glizzy.
And a glizzy
is a gun.
Is a gun.
Shy glizzy means...
Okay.
I think it means you've got a gun, but you're not going to use it.
What's the point of having a gun, then?
I don't know. Well,
I want the gun because I want to be able to use it.
Well, we're going to talk about guns someday, but I used to call the glove department in my car the glizzy department. That's where the glizzy is.
But that's the thing, Mr. Penniman. Why is it that, and we said this, so we're going to get into it. Why is it that so many people, you said the shot glizzy and the chopper and all this stuff, you already know this stuff is crazy. Why is it that when you give people in the hood, like you said, the children, an opportunity to get out of the hood so they can at least live another 15 years or 10 to a better opportunity, they refuse because they are afraid to leave their familiar, chaotic turf?
Yeah, and that was really the reason we traveled to visit colleges. I got a lot of pushback from our board saying it's expensive, it's risky, you might have an accident. Anything might happen. I used to take boys and girls on the same trip, and then I stopped doing that.
Okay.
Because there's too much temptation there. But some of the kids, like Braswell, who went to Arizona, you might remember Braswell.
Yes.
He just fell in love with Arizona. He's still out there. He got his degree. He got his master's degree. He's married, has kids. So just visiting colleges just opens up kids' eyes. Now, they still...
You say he married. Is he married to a white girl?
No, he's still in an all-black environment.
In Arizona?
Except he's actually not too happy with the Democratic Party. So if you talk to him about politics, you might get some surprising answers.
Oh.
But he is a religious young man.
That's good.
We had a few disagreements.
That's why I gotta travel because I didn't know. I thought Braswell was the only black person in Arizona.
He might be. Well, there's him and his family, but his parents were so taken with it, they moved out there. His parents just got in their car and drove to Arizona,
Wow.
and they're taking care of the grandkids, so they're happy as clams out there.
Yeah.
So there might be 5 black people in the Tucson area. Yeah. A lot of Latino kids. He's working at a school that caters to Latino kids, which is great.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so
Doing better than I'm doing.
yes, but so many of our kids didn't want to take the leap to another school. And we did have a few kids go to Langston in Oklahoma.
Right, okay.
They took that leap. But part of it is they get there and they're so out of their element.
Right.
They don't know what to do, even if it's an all-black college. So culturally, they might have some similarities with their freshmen.
Yeah, because I'm sure black people are different out there than over here. Has to be.
Well, sometimes you can close your eyes and listen to someone in the South. So let's say you're in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You close your eyes, and they sound the same.
Right.
It's really kind of risky. But
see, I think like they don't want to. They know here they can die. The stuff that they're in and the stuff that's going on around here. They know that they can wake up any given day, walk out here, and get shot. But if you say, "Hey, I got this opportunity for you where you can go full ride to a better place, go to college, make something of yourself," they're like, "Nah, I'm good here." Maybe
Yeah.
because they know all the fences they can jump here. They try to run out there some fences, they probably ain't gonna know where to go.
yeah, I mean, the concept is, I know conceptually it's better over there on the other side of the river or beyond, but just taking that leap emotionally, mentally. I remember when I first drove one of our kids in the neighborhood here over to Hillcrest. I guess we were on our way back from taking Travis home, and we were driving around Southeast, and Hillcrest looks beautiful, right? It looks like any neighborhood
it does.
in Ward 3. And the kid looks at me and goes, this is Southeast. He was like a mouse going from his house to school,
Right.
sometimes to McDonald's, but that was all he knew in Southeast DC.
Yeah, some people don't leave. Like I remember there was a girl that they called her Triangle for short. I didn't really know her. I ran into her a few times.
Did her face look like a triangle?
No, she was actually quite pretty. They call her Triangle for short, but they call her Bermuda Triangle.
I'm a math teacher. I think triangles are beautiful. Wait, Bermuda Triangle? That sounds dangerous.
Well, I did ask her, why did they call you Triangle? And she was like, because this coochie is very wet, like you see.
Oh.
You know, a lot of guys disappear in this coochie.
Didn't know we were going there. I should have thought.
That's what she said.
Should have thought of that.
And her camel toe, when I looked at it, is shaped like a beautiful triangle. I said, "Oh, that's nice." But I saw her one day at the bus stop, and she was sad. So I was like, "What's wrong with you?" She said, "You know, because she." By her saying what she said, I know that she have a lot of clients. But she said one of her favorite clients was gunned down like a few days ago. Big spender, I guess. And she was sad. So I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you, man. I'm going to tell you. Before you get head and want to get a good nut, please pay all of your bills first. And whatever is left, then you can spend it on the hoe, whatever's left. But don't come at them first. And then, you know, if some of them are smart, but I know people like me that's not too, smart when it comes to that. I'll mess up. But I had just gotten back pay on my job, $1,500. So I was feeling good that day. I felt good that day. And I saw her. I said, you know what? Why don't I just, I'm going somewhere. I'm going downtown. Come on and go with me and just, I'm going to take your mind off of it and just go with me. And she was a little nervous because all she knew was Southeast.
Can I just ask you, this is really a true story?
This is a true story, Mr. Penniman.
Okay.
I promise you. It sounds like it's not. I wouldn't know what to say if I didn't.
So where did the $1,500 come? How come that just appeared suddenly, just in time for you to see this woman?
I don't know. I know I just gotten back pay.
Okay.
But I had the $1,500 for a while. I was saving it.
Okay.
And I saw her, and I had it. So I said, because if I didn't have it, I would have never said nothing. But when you get a little bit of money, you feel good.
Yeah, power.
And I had it sitting in that bank because what it was, they was transitioning. You know how when the wages is one way and then you go to the union ups it.
Oh, okay. So
Every year we get a raise.
It wasn't a tax thing. It was just the fact you got a raise.
Yeah, it was like, okay, we went up on I think I went from $18 to $22. But what it was, it didn't kick in yet. So when I was doing all the overtime and all of that, everything was at $22, but I didn't get it yet. So what you call it, retro pay?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So all that overtime, they gave it to me probably 2 months before. And I just had it sitting in the bank.
So the first thing you thought of when you had this money was, what's this young lady's name? Should we make up a name?
That's Triangle. That's what they call it.
Oh, Triangle. That's right.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I don't know.
I don't know if that. I don't know where she at. I just know that's what she said. They call her. They say, yeah, they call me Triangle, and then she explained why. I told you that.
That was your first thought when you got the money. Triangle.
Mr. Penniman, I'm a sucker for a pretty face.
Okay, so okay. I interrupted you, so keep going.
No, it's the same thing. It's basically when she was nervous when I said, let's go downtown. I said, I go downtown all the time. She was like, well, what's down there? I said, buildings and fun and safety. You know, she was like, okay. But I'm like, you here in Southeast and you scared to go down there? But she trusted me, and we got on the bus and we went downtown. And I took her to the Air and Space Museum.
Wow.
She was like, oh my God, what's this? Probably the closest she's ever gonna, fly. She was looking at the planes, but I found out something because when we was looking at all the information and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, have you been here? She's like, no, I never been out of Southeast. I didn't even know all this was down here. Nobody never took me. I said, well, what about your client that was shot? No, he just came to see me. I said, okay, well, here you are. And I noticed that she was looking at the information and she couldn't read it.
Oh.
I said, she was like, I said, this girl can't read. So I was reading it to her and she was getting excited about like, oh, I didn't notice. And I noticed she was getting excited because I was looking at the triangle. And it looked like she was peeing a little bit. So something else was going on. My mind was going like, oh, snap. I may have a chance with this triangle. But then I was a little nervous because I said, now she said it gets wet like the sea. I can't swim that good. But I don't mind drowning in that. So I had that in my head. None of my bills were paid yet. See, this is what I'm saying. Then I took her to Cheesecake Factory and she started crying.
Is there going to be a climax to this story?
Unfortunately not. I thought it would be, but it's not going to be a climax. At least I was trying to climax. But I took her to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't understand how someone as beautiful as she is didn't take her to Cheesecake Factory. All she knew was McDonald's.
She had never been to Cheesecake Factory. Oh my God.
I said, all that money you be making, because she was scared to leave there's no Cheesecake Factory in Southeast.
Right.
So, and then she was crying. She said, nobody's never did this for me. Oh my God. And her lashes was coming off. So she took her lashes off and I was like, finally, I get to see her eyes, because I didn't know what I was looking at for 3 hours. Because, they wear long eyelashes. Yeah. And then she told me, I was like, well, what's it? Then I said, okay, let's go do a little shopping, because, you want to get some clothes? She was like, yeah, I can get some clothes. I was just trying to make her feel better because she really was sad that her client was shot. And then she was crying some more. She said, you're so nice and you really showing me love. Let me tell you something, Mr. Penniman. One of the most beautifulest but saddest things is to see a pretty girl tear up. It's like it's beautiful but sad at the same time, and you just like, oh my God, I just want to help you. And then I was like, well, what's wrong now, Triangle? She was like, don't call me Triangle no more. My real name is Dejanay. I don't know if she was telling the truth, but that's what she told me. And when a hoe tells you her real name, I think she trusts you or she like you. She got something with you. So I was like, okay, Dejanay, that's cute. And I had a good time with her until I got home and realized I done spent half of my rent money on this broad. I said, God, dog.
But she had a great time. She
had a great time, and I did until I got home. I had to work overtime for 2 weeks to get that back.
The only genuine good time she ever had. Was she close to your age?
I think so. She probably was a few years younger than me.
Wow.
They always a few years younger than me.
It's hard to tell.
So that's why I tell men, pay your bills before you get head. Before you mess with a trick, pay your bills first. And whatever's left, whatever you want to do with that, fine.
Yeah. But the whole concept of field trips, taking people out of their element, that's so important. I was talking to somebody yesterday about, we used to take kids to get eyeglasses because a lot of our kids couldn't see the board in Anacostia High School. This is no joke. They actually have to go up to the board and look at it from like 3 feet away.
Wow.
And there was a 17-page form to fill out if I were supposed to do this the correct way in order for me to take a kid across to Arlington to Lens Crafters and get a free eye exam and a free fitting for
You got
glasses.
to go through all of that.
But I didn't. I just called up the parents and said, hey, do you mind if I take this kid out of 5th period class? And how do you think this made the principals at Anacostia feel?
Was they okay with it?
No, they were not happy.
Yeah, because it was like you mean so well, Mr. Penniman. It's just like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, do, in your opinion, do you think Michael Jackson touched any of them children?
Well, that's maybe a subject for another day. But
Okay, I feel like he didn't. I just think Michael Jackson was just in a world where it's like he's so innocent and childlike that in a world like this, it's just weird.
So he became a child, is that what you're saying?
I think he was just a big child. I mean, he was a grown man and he was a businessman. When it was time to get down to business, he did what he did. But I think he really genuinely loved children and wanted to help them to not end up as evil adults.
I think he never developed into an adult himself. You know, when he was a kid, he was just a performer.
Right.
And an incredibly gifted one. And when
So
he
it was backwards. As a kid, he was an adult.
Well, nobody really cared about his personal development, right? They just wanted to care about his musical development, his
Right.
dancing and all that. And he's one of the most creative people of the last 100 years, right?
Right.
And so he never really got real relationships with other adults. He never really had an identity other than Michael Jackson, the performer.
So that's why I say when you do things differently, than what is culturally accepted or what is normal, you tend to look crazy. That's why when you say, "Hey, can I, pull this person out? I'm just going to help them to get their eyes checked." Most adults are not doing that around here, Mr. Penniman. So that's why they was looking at you funny.
right.
He was doing something different. How in the world a child get to the point where their eyes is that bad they got to walk up to the board and sniff the chalk and look like a crackhead just to see what they saying?
Yeah, and the fact that nobody had the time to correct the issue. I mean, one of their kids, his vision was so bad, the ophthalmologist who had been in the job for decades said it was the worst case of myopia he had ever seen. And the kid was going around without, and making the honor roll, by the way, and
Well,
going around for years without glasses. And one of the reasons I knew he couldn't see to save his life was I passed him on the street, and I was just like, we're sitting here 3 feet apart, and I said,
Wow.
"Hey, how's it going?" I said his name, and he was looking straight ahead, and then looked at me really carefully, without glasses, and oh, hi. And
See, that's
Yeah.
not. And then you finally came in and did something different, and you wanted to help, and they looked at you like we're not happy about this. You're trying to help them get their eyes right.
Well, I mean, I can't put myself in their shoes, but they didn't have any white males over the age of 30, nor did Ballou High School. It was like 10 or 12 years before I worked in a school where anybody was within 30 years of my age and a white male. And some of the kids would say, "Hey, there's Mr. Rogers," or "There's Donald Trump," or they just think of one kid. I don't know if you remember the coach in Pennsylvania who got in trouble for sexual molestation.
You talking about Anacostia?
No, this was Joe Paterno's assistant coach at Penn State.
Okay.
I'm blanking on his name.
I think it's a good thing you are. That's just don't say it.
But a kid came up to me one day and noticed the resemblance between me and this other guy. And let's say it's Mulaney. Mulaney. And it was some Irish name. And I said, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Because I knew the name. I knew he was talking about the molester.
Right.
Oh, you kind of look like Mulaney. So just if you think of like Mitt Romney, people thought,
yeah,
there goes Mitt. Now I do look a little bit like Mitt
Yeah,
Romney.
you do.
But
you do.
but there's just a handful of old white males that kids know.
Right.
And I've just named them.
Now you didn't even vote for Mitt Romney, did you?
Sandusky, that's the guy who was the coach.
Oh,
So the kid came up to me and
I heard
said,
it, and that sounds like a molesting name.
he said, he points at me and he's like not saying anything. He goes, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Sandusky."
And I would have been like, no.
But the Donald Trump thing was really odd because I don't look that much like Donald Trump, even 10 years ago. And the fact that seeing me made him think of Donald Trump was wild.
Racist. That's probably all they thought, racist.
Well, you mean I would be a
Yeah,
racist?
yeah.
Well, they didn't know who Donald Trump was what Donald Trump was all about. The kids
Just knew he was racist.
the kids in Baltimore were much more sophisticated.
But that's what it is. But you vote Democrat a lot, don't you?
Oh yeah, I stick with Democrats.
See that, and that's
There was-
amazing to me because I ain't gonna lie. When I first saw you, I said I bet he voted to get Sesame Street off TV.
We're running short on time. One thing I wanted to talk about today was can black people trust white people? I mean, we say we're trying to do the best for you. That's what Democrats are always saying. But can we be trusted? But I don't want to get into it now. That's something to think about for next time.
That's something to think about. Okay.
And I do want to have a shout out for our producer, James. He's responsible for the look and the feel and the sound and everything for our pod. So if you have any suggestions or you want to give him some props, feel free to in the comments. But we're going to be on YouTube pretty soon. I'm speaking this your word retroactively. Well, we're going to be out there somewhere in social media so you can see and or hear us.
Right.
And we're gonna try and pop up on Fridays for your lunchtime listening pleasure.
Right.
But I think for this week, that's it. This has been session number 4 of Keeping It 84.
Yes.
With
$20.
The relatively young.
Remember, men, pay your bills before you get the nut.
And this has been Paul Penniman, an old white man. We've been talking about racial and cultural differences along the divide. See you next time.